you ever been to a website and you were looking for some information? Maybe you were ready to make a call or you were ready to buy something, and you got to a website and you realize, like, man, I really don't know what I need to do or really what it's about. It looked nice. They had some pictures, maybe some different things on there, maybe a review, maybe not, but they had some stuff on there, but really there was no way for you necessarily to call them, or if there was, it took you a while to figure out where you needed to go, and it didn't really make too much sense. And really, honestly, the website looked more like a brochure more than it did a website that you could actually do something with. And not only do you have that problem when you go to other websites, but maybe your website is like that. Maybe you have that same sort of thing and you're like, man, my website isn't converting. There's not a lot of people that are coming to my website, or if they are, they're just leaving right away. And it's because I have my website as a brochure. And I totally get that. When I first started web design and I started looking at how to make websites and building them, I really just made it look really nice. But obviously I didn't have customers or clients that I was building it for. I was just trying to make it look really nice. So as I started doing that more and more, I realized and I saw, oh, I need this to actually do something. And that's the same thing for your website. You need your website to be not just a brochure, but to be your best salesperson. And we're going to go through some tips today on how you can take your website from a brochure site where it just looks nice, or maybe not, it's just kind of there telling some information about your company, to a best salesperson, which actually works and will help you not only get more traffic to it, but will also get you more leads that you can then turn into clients. So let's check out a couple of tips on ways that you can make your website go from a brochure site that doesn't work to a salesperson that does work. So the first thing is that you have to know your audience. So number one is know your audience. And what I mean by that is just you need to figure out, okay, well, who am I talking to? What is the language that they speak? What are the things that they're looking for? What are the problems that I solve that they are trying to figure out how to solve themselves? And how can I relay that to them so that I can know what it is that they are looking for? The thing with know your audience is not only are you telling people what you do to draw people in, but you also want to do that to make sure that you filter out people who don't need what you're serving, who don't need what it is, the problem that you're trying to solve. And it's not to be mean, you're not trying to disrespect them or do anything like that, but really what you're doing is that you're making sure that you are filtering out those that are not a good fit, because one, you don't want to waste their time, and two, you don't want to waste your time with them if they're not a good fit. And obviously, you're going to be able to filter that out, and you're going to be able to filter those who are there and who are not a good fit for you when you start to know your audience. So the first tip is know your audience. The second thing is to make sure that you tell your customer what's in it for them. I've talked in length before about the 3 questions that every visitor asks when they get there. And you want to make sure that you tell them immediately, well, what is the benefit for working with you? What is the benefit that you are able to solve by working with them? And you want to make sure that you do that, and that you do it clearly, that you do it concisely, and that you make sure that you tell them what's in it for them. You don't want to tell them about all this other stuff. You want to obviously tell them what you do, but you want to tell them what is the benefit and what is in it for them. And something to remember is that you want to make sure that it's about them. You want to make sure that when you're telling them what you do, how it benefits them, you're telling why it matters. Why it matters that you do what you do. You want to make sure that you make it about them. You want to be the guide so that you can show them how you can help them solve their problem. And that goes into point number 3. Use stories to connect with your clients, with your visitors, with those that come. Story is such a powerful medium. We have it in books, we have it in movies. In fact, a lot of times movies will take from another medium such as books, or from video games, or video games will take from books, right? All of these sort of things. A lot of times what happens is that the book is better than the movie or the video game or whatever, right? When you have a longer form of storytelling, you're able to really connect with your customers. Now, you're not writing a book, right? You want to make sure that you are not writing a book and that well, people are going to look at it and read it because people honestly are going to scan your website. So you need to make sure that as you are writing and you're telling a story, that really you're using a big headline and maybe a few sentences so that people can then, as they lean in for those that are interested in what you have to say, will then go to another part of your website, which is the next point, which is point number 4. Use clear and concise top navigation menu, or have a good UX. So you want to make sure that as you're telling your story and as people are going to your website and as you are internally linking to yourself, that it makes sense, that there's a good flow as you tell that story, and as you draw them deeper into that story through that customer journey, they know where it is that you want them to go, and they understand where to go on your website right there on the top bar, that if they're looking for your prices, if they're looking for your features, if they're looking for your services, whatever you're doing, that they know how to contact you and they know what it is that they need to do to make sure to work with you, which goes to the next point, which is a strong call to action. Now, I've talked about this before, but you want to make sure that your call to action is that you can tell them what you want them to do when they get to your page. And that's the third question. You want to make sure that you show them where the cash register at. You tell them how it is that you can work with them, whether that's buy now, schedule a call, book a strategy call, let's get started. You want to make sure that it's a strong call to action. You want to leave learn more and all that sort of stuff for later on down in the page where you're wanting them to go maybe a little bit deeper into what you're saying, but you want to make sure that no matter what, that you are giving a strong call to action. One of the things that you can do is making sure that it is a different colored button than the rest of your page. And you want to make sure that obviously it fits within your brand, but some really great colors are blue for business, red, a certain color of red that actually gets a very high click rate when you use red. But you want to make sure that it stays on brand, but you want to also make sure that people know what it is that you want them to do, that it just screams in their face, this is what I want you to do. Buy now, schedule a call, book a strategy call, download this sheet, whatever it is for your lead generator. You want to make sure that it is a strong call to action. And lastly, what you want to do, something that is becoming more and more popular over the last couple of years and will continue to grow and become a vital part of your website, is to make sure that you incorporate and use video in your website. And that can be in a lot of different places, but if it's the main portion of your content, Google just said that if you have your video as the main portion of your website, of that page, they will actually show it on Google when people are searching for whatever content, the thing that they're searching for. So if you're a lawyer, if you're a realtor, if you're a doctor, if you are a content creator, whatever it is that you are, if you can hone in on your video and make sure that that's the main portion of your website, they will actually show that on the search results when people are searching for whatever it is that they're looking for that you are ranking for. So video is extremely important, especially if you can put it right there at the top, and making sure that through your blogs and through other portions, you're able to you're able to do all those things that we talked about before. You're able to give a call to action. You're able to tell a story because you're connecting with them, and you're looking to really make sure that throughout all of this, and you're probably like, well, if you're reading the blog, you skipped a point, Roger. Well, you want to make sure that through all of this, you want to make sure that you make it visually interesting. It's not enough to do all of this sort of stuff if it doesn't look good. You have less than 5 seconds to do 2 things when people come to your website: to make sure that it looks good and to answer the 3 questions. We're told not to judge a book by its cover, right? That old saying, don't judge a book by its cover, but let's be honest, we all do. I mean, I read books. I love fantasy. I love sci-fi. I love different sort of books, but yeah, I'll be honest, sometimes I judge a book by its cover, right? And the thing is that people will judge your website by how it looks. You have less than 5 seconds to make that impact. And if you don't make that impact in the first 5 seconds, you actually have less. But if you don't make that impact in the first 5 seconds of, 1, that it looks good, and 2, you're answering the 3 questions, people are going to bounce, and they're going to find someone who does those 2 things. So again, make sure that you are doing these things, whether it's adding video, having a clear call to action, making it visually interesting, and making sure that you're telling your customer what you do. You want to answer those 3 questions. You want to make sure that you're doing these things so you can take your website from being a brochure, which doesn't work, to a website that is actually your best salesperson. By incorporating these and making sure that your website is those things, by making it visually interesting and making sure that you are incorporating these things, you are going to make sure that your website gets what you really want, which is TLC, traffic, leads, and clients. And you're going to be able to start getting more people to your page, more people staying on your page, and then turning those leads into clients. If you found this interesting, please like it. Please share it with somebody that you know. Also, check out my website where you can download the 5 essentials, where I go a little deeper into some of these things, and I'll have those links down below in the blog. But check out my 5 essentials guide where you can download the 5 essentials and make sure that your website is not just a brochure, but that it is your best salesperson, and take your website from embarrassing to effective. You guys have a great afternoon. I look forward to hearing from you. And don't forget, check out my blog, check out the website, like and share, and download the 5 essentials. Talk to you later.